Good afternoon, folks. And yep, it's that time again. It's Friday, Friday, Friday here in the asylum. I am Harley Angel. We're trying something a little bit new to see what happens because we're trying to iron out some technical difficulties. So, my daughters say it's an Android thing because I don't have an Apple. I only get apples at the store. So we'll see what happens. But let's see if we can get our my partner in crime in here to see if he I'll be what the frick? Come on now. Don't be doing this. Don't be doing this, you stupid thing. What the frick? Ed. Son of a bitch!
Let me guess.
You
You
can't
can't see me.
fucking Cena.
So I think we found out what the issue is. We'll discuss that after the show. Because Dot
Sir?
had a really good point on this, so we will talk about that after the show. However,
Okay,
welcome,
thanks.
welcome, welcome to your crazy, crazy area, the asylum. You missed
Okay.
that.
Look, sir. Introduce yourself, damn it.
First off, coffee, check.
Oh, yeah, coffee. Now, of course, since we are in therapy, may the force be with you.
Oh, here we go. This is not May.
No,
Anyways, people,
see, I got
welcome
that
to.
side, but wait a minute, I got that side, and I got Baby Yoda.
His name is not Baby Yoda.
It's
He is
Baby
actually
Yoda.
no, he is not. He is of the same species as Yoda, but he is not Yoda.
I call him Baby Yoda.
That's what everybody calls him, but that's not correct.
Okay, well, we're in therapy. We're not here to be politically correct, sir.
Welcome to the asylum. We are your host, your crazy host at that, Harley, and Joker Shadowwalker. So
I'm sorry, the squirrel was dancing.
clearly, fucking squirrels.
I know, I've been seeing a lot of them lately.
Yeah, I joined a group that's about squirrels.
I did too.
I'm not going to say why.
I got a lot of squirrel memes.
Apparently, we're a little nuts. Who knew?
In more ways than one.
Anyways, today
Anyhow,
we are here early because of,
Joker got salty.
yeah. There's only one reason that got switched around is because, yeah, I wasn't doing a solitary night and then opening the next day, so they had to switch my Monday and Friday, and it just so happened.
That makes sense.
We got, you got your crayons? I got my crayons.
I don't have the crayons because you stole the crayons. But I got, the straight jackets are on the right.
Crayons and checkers to the left.
No, crayons are with Joker, and I bet you Dot's got the checkers. So you'll
Yeah.
have to hit up Dot.
But you know what's coming soon? Because Joker's
To a
going to.
theater near you?
No, I'm not in any movies.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're discussing and contemplating creating a graffiti marble board. Who remembers playing marbles?
I do. I do.
Well, I have recently
I,
found
I remember it called Chinese checkers.
Chinese checkers.
That's what I knew it as, but it was marbles, but it,
But
why it
you
was
got
called,
marbles and you got your dice. Well, I found
yeah.
me some really interesting dice that I'm eventually going to get because once I create this actual board, which I will post when I make it, because I'm going to graffiti the hell out of it
Is that what we were talking about before?
at one
Di-
point.
Yeah, I remember. I think you had brought that up to me before when I was still out there. So now we're actually gonna be making it.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Joker's making the board.
Sure am.
I'll bring the marbles.
I got to get some
As,
decent
as, as
marbles.
soon as I gotta find my marbles first. I got two.
But I'm going to get some really neat dice.
Man, I've seen some really cool dice that they have.
These were dragon dice,
Ooh, that
I think.
sounds that sounds cool.
Dot found them.
That's like I found another cool thing I saw is how they have like you can get custom designed billiard balls.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and man, the designs you can get because ultimately I am going to once I get the room in a new place, I'm gonna be getting my own pool table because
Oh, yeah.
I love to play pool. It's for me, it's a stress relief, and I found where I think it was through because you can get it through Walmart and I think as well as Amazon, um, where you can actually order like custom design fucking billiard balls sets.
Interesting.
And I thought it was so cool. I saw one actually had blue. It was blue flames. It was black and blue flames.
Oh, yeah?
It was awesome. So
Huh.
freaking awesome. So,
So
but yet that's kind of cool that they got that for dice.
I kind of want to bring up something that we was talking about before the show because I think it
Well,
would be a thing to talk about while we're here on the show today.
we were talking about a few things on there.
We were mainly talking about the difference of mental health between men and women.
That yes, you're right. You're right. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I was actually gonna bring that up too. So yeah, great minds think alike. So yes, please go.
But go ahead. But first,
Oh
first
yeah,
we
should we do the what the fuck first?
yeah, because Joker's been kind of waiting on that.
Yeah, because Harley didn't tell Joker the what the fuck this
No.
week, and this one is a good one. Oh man,
Would you
and
say trump the other ones that we've had?
huh?
Does it trump any of the ones that we've had previously? Or is this just one of those that,
Well, I'm gonna tell you, and then I'll let you be the judge. Now, this one, as I told you, Joker, it comes from a location that we have not covered before. It is
oh,
from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
okay.
Okay, a I'm trying to say this with a straight face. I know it's not funny, but it kind of is.
Okay, in this day and age, I
Okay.
hurt people
Okay.
and yeah.
A 25-year-old man was arrested in Albuquerque, New Mexico on he was charged with murdering two people, and he said a cockroach told him to do it.
A cockroach told him to do it.
That was his defense, is that he said a cockroach
Uh,
told him.
Okay. Okay.
I told you. I
I
told.
heard that
I told you.
the Lord had told me to do this. God told me to do this, and but a fucking
This dude said a cockroach told him to kill two people.
while we're kind of on this subject of, I
That's
seen
the what the fuck.
I seen a TikTok the other, and I don't know if it's interesting in a way or if my deranged mind is just that warped that somebody would actually come up with this. There has not really been a serial killer in the last 30 years. No major serial killers in the last 30 years.
Well, that actually, I mean, technically, there hasn't been any in the media. Doesn't mean there actually
That's what I
hasn't
mean.
been
That's
any,
what I
but
mean. There's
not
been it's been
like
caught.
big news media serial killers. Although I'll take that back.
Right?
There has been. There's been actually reports of uh, this was in the last several months because this was going around even before I came out to Tennessee, and there was news reports about a serial killer going around Texas, around the Houston area,
Oh,
and but it wasn't like it was like sporadic though, like you weren't seeing it all the time, and it's funny that you do bring that because that kind of actually ties into what I was talking about last night in my post. I was watching that movie, Zodiac,
isn't that
and
basically Zodiac killer?
yes, and everybody has heard of Zodiac. He's on the infamous serial killer list right underneath Jack the Ripper until they finally identified who Jack the Ripper was. The Zodiac has never been identified. He is the actually second most notorious serial killer of all time in not just U.S. history, world history, because, like I said, he was listed right under Jack the Ripper, but they ID'd him now. But this particular case actually hits home with me because the fact that the Zodiac actually was in my hometown of Vallejo, California,
Which
and
you've hinted at that in many shows.
yeah,
So if you've been following long enough, you will you know
but there. I'm bringing. I got a point here. I promise.
I'm
I'm
listening.
not. I'm not just repeating myself. I promise. But no, like because how uh when you go through traumatic events, and this ties in with mental health as well, and this is where I was kind of making the lines meet, connect the dots. But the fact that it actually took years for me to finally, after revelation of the truth behind the Zodiac and how the Zodiac actually affected my family personally. um it was a revelation that you know when you go through trauma at that level, because the fact, like I said, the Zodiac was never caught, never even identified. These, people lost their lives and their families. uh they never got answers. They never got any kind of closure.
Yeah.
Just their loved ones are just gone, and they're just left to pick up the pieces and try and move on without any closure or answers to why this happened, who did this, and no justice. So it's it does it something like that takes a toll on you
Yes, it does.
in many ways, and I didn't understand that when it came to my mother, you know, until later on when she had finally told me, and then it all, like, the whole row of light bulbs clicked on. I'm like, that makes sense now, because the the trauma that you go through, and the fact of, my mother did not talk about it to anybody. Like, she just held all this shit in for all those years and just did not even acknowledge it. You know
Hmm.
that that shit will fuck with your head. You know, it's
Imagine.
not even just on a safety level, because of the fact that he was never caught. You know, the Bay Area was traumatized for years, even after the killing stopped. You know, the fact that the last known uh, contact with between the Zodiac and newspapers and the police departments in the Bay Area was back in 1974. Now, the first killing of the Zodiac that was listed was done on December 20th of 1968, and that actually took place in Benicia, California, which is literally like a hop, skip, and a jump from Vallejo. And it was a young high school couple that had gotten killed, and then uh, July 4th, 1969, was when the killing happened in Vallejo, which was my mom's friend. And
Right.
the the weird part about this is I'm not 100% sure, because I don't remember 100% if what my friend's back then's last name was, but I do believe that, in kind of odd circumstances, that in the shooting that took place in Vallejo in on 4th of July 1969, there it was another young couple. The woman, she was killed instantly. Like I said, that was my mom's friend from high school, and the gentleman survived the attack. He was shot multiple times, but he actually had survived. And later on, I believe it was in 1972, um, that he was the one who originally pointed out naming Arthur Lee Allen as a suspect for being the Zodiac, which later on they had determined that he was not. Through DNA and everything, they had determined he was not the Zodiac. But it's just the fact that what the city went through. Because if you guys remember, I mean, I know that we're all showing our age, and I wasn't born until 1978, and this was 1969. But if you can imagine what it was, remember back then, what it was like, uh, that is something that, I mean, when you have a serial killer like on the loose like that, it really just the terror that it causes the entire area, not just Vallejo, but it was because the Zodiac ended up going from Benicia, Vallejo, then it was in Napa, was his next victims at Lake Berryessa, which was another young couple, and then in San Francisco after that, which was a cab driver. And the thing I find kind of ironic, because I did study back in college. I studied criminal investigation and criminal justice, and researched on criminal psychology and the serial killer mind. So I researched serial killers for a long time. which was one thing my ex didn't like. But he, um, but the one thing that's always been said is, they have what's called a modus operandi, which is their way of killing, and they say that it's basically like clockwork.
Their,
They don't change up, but that's not
their,
true.
their signature.
It's their signature, exactly. Their choice, their preference in the way that they carry out, the act itself. And they say that it's said that they once they find a particular style, whether it's using a gun, a knife, whatever weapon, whatever uh, plan that they utilize, that that's usually how they do it every time.
They've
That's
been
not true.
proficient with it.
They are consistent, yes, but that is actually not true in the case of the Zodiac, because the Zodiac changed up multiple times. And then after the, it was stated after the killing in San Francisco of the cab driver that there was another case down in Riverside, California, which is Southern California, and of a college girl that was attending Riverside Community College, which is actually kind of interesting because that's the college I went to right after high school. But she was actually been confirmed as another Zodiac case. And the the one thing I find, in my research throughout the years and everything, was that in the time period that the Zodiac was committing these crimes, there was actually another very well known serial killer that was in that area, that same fucking area, at the same fucking time. Only he wasn't known yet. And that individual was Ted Bundy.
Ah,
Because Ted Bundy, he had attended the University of Washington. He was a law student. He was dating a young female. I believe her name was Stephanie. Uh, don't quote me on that, but anywho, he was dating a girl, and she was the love of his life. Well, she ended up breaking up with him, and she left UW and ended up going back to San Francisco to stay with her family. Okay. After they broke up and she went to San Francisco, he left the University of Washington, traveled to Florida, and was actually in Florida for several months prior, and then got in contact with his ex in San Francisco and convinced her to allow him to come out to see her. And mind you, this was in the end of night. He was gone out to San Francisco, I believe, in November of 1968.
mm-hmm.
Okay, the very first known Zodiac killing was December 20th, 1968. Okay, Ted Bundy was in that area. Now, they say, and it has been, proven through documentation, that the last known contact by the Zodiac was in 1974. And in 1974 was when Ted Bundy left the Bay Area and went back up to Washington and started his killing spree in Washington and became, as we know, Ted Bundy.
Hmm.
So it's like, when, I'm not saying that Ted Bundy was the Zodiac, because there is a lot of, conspiracy theories out there and everything. However, when Ted Bundy was ultimately caught and had confessed to some of the murders, even though he never fully confessed to all the murders he did, the police and authorities even stated that they believed he did murders prior to 1974 in Washington, and they just could not actually prove it.
Right.
And it was a known fact he was in, traveling on the West Coast.
Speaking of traveling and whatnot, you know that there is a conspiracy around a particular country music artist.
Okay. I've been hearing a lot of country music artist news lately, so definitely, which one are you referring to?
Chris Gaines, otherwise known as Garth Brooks. It is said that no, it's not been
I heard about
confirmed,
that theory
but
too.
the conspiracy is that anywhere he's had shows, people have gone missing.
I
When
heard about that.
he bought undocumented land that has nothing on it,
Yeah.
people went missing. So
And
the question is, Chris Gaines, otherwise known as Garth Brooks, depending on which, who's the
alter ego.
alter ego and who's the real, is he possibly?
That and honestly, that's actually a very interesting, topic right there, and trying, because you see a lot of, celebrities that, I mean, for instance, Diddy, um, Danny Masterson, Bill Cosby, these men, other, and just to name a couple, that have actually committed crimes that you wouldn't even fucking think that they would do. But when the stories and of Garth Brooks possibly being a serial killer, and everyone instantly wants to dismiss it because he's Garth Brooks. I get that, okay, but it's
So
and
that
I'm
might be
not saying that he is, but I mean, look at all these other celebrities we thought were just 100%, legit good people, and come to find out, you know, it's not the case. I mean, it would be truly a shock, honestly, I
yeah.
think, to everybody if it turned out true.
I don't think
But, this is where you got to go on facts. And until they can show actual evidential proof of some sort, bring it to light, then, it's all just a theory,
hmm
you know, because facts are facts. People will say things, a lot of times, you'll get hear rumors get spread that they'll be, oh no, it wasn't true. I mean, you don't go based off of, what people say. You go based off of the facts. If you want to know the truth, find it. That's
with
where truth seekers come
finding
into play.
finding truth,
Is seeking the truth in
it,
all
it, it,
areas of life.
it takes time and it takes a lot of effort to
Yeah.
find the truth because
And
since the since the age of the internet, there has been a mass amount, a flooded amount
oh
of
yeah,
bull that you have to sift through to find that.
believe me, I know. That shit is unreal.
But
Unreal.
aside from the negative sides of things,
But I mean it's not really negative. I mean it's just,
no,
I mean the fact is, because regardless, of serial killers, they are people too. They do suffer from mental health issues, obviously. They're not all fucking there. And the interesting part, this is where I was kind of connecting the dots earlier, was the fact that in my research over the years of doing criminal psychology and trying to basically nitpick the brain of a serial killer to find out why they do what they do, you know and honestly, there are some circumstances in some cases you ain't going to find those answers. You are not going to know why they do what they fucking do to the full extent, because in certain cases, they don't fucking even know. Okay? And then like I said, Ted Bundy knew what the fuck he was doing. Ted Bundy was no dummy. Ted Bundy was a fucking smart ass individual. He knew what the fuck he was doing. You've got some out there, because like I said, Ted Bundy did not suffer from mental health other than the fact he was just a psychopath. Okay, that is, yes, part of a mental health issue, but he was well aware of his actions and what he was doing. Other cases where basically, the person was just a completely normal fucking individual that literally just something snapped, and it was like, the screws and the all that mechanisms in there just literally collapsed, and you will never know the answer to why they did it, other than the fact they snapped. Because before then they were perfectly fine individuals, showed no signs of mental health, no signs of any kind of, warning signs
Right.
of, being a possible psychopath, and when as an analyst, like it gets frustrating because analysts look, they seek answers. They seek any kind of possible direction, from every perspective, to find some kind of explanation. And when you get onto these certain circumstances where there is no definitive explanation, that's when it's frustrating as fuck.
Well, the thing is, I personally think
But
that there is no definitive way to fully understand the complexity of our minds.
exactly.
Just because whether it's true, not true, the conspiracies or not conspiracies, there's a lot of things out there that are very questionable, that there are tangible evidence, but then again, other evidence backs up other theories, other things.
Exactly.
It
You know, and that's one
gives the
thing what I was saying too is like holy crap, Batman.
Cop it up.
um I know it's not mine. But that was the other thing I was saying earlier too, is about, trauma. When you go through really traumatic, PTSD, um, that right there, is definitely a contributing factor in some cases, just because of, depending on the severity of the trauma. That's where you learn. Some people learn what's called disassociation. It's where you detach yourself emotionally. You
Hmm.
learn how to basically shut your emotions completely off and detach yourself from that situation. And it is, when somebody learns how to do that, it can be a dangerous thing, especially when you're talking about a psychopath. It it is something that they use as a control factor tool in carrying out their acts of violence, or like some, for instance, the I-5 killer, he actually started out just committing small crimes. He didn't instantly jump into murder, which a lot of your known killers, they start out small, with basically, committing minor infractions, from like robberies, armed robberies. Uh, Not all psychopaths turn to sexual assault, but some do, just because, like I said, it's the control factor. And so it's like, trying to understand and comprehend what goes through one's mind to commit such an act like that and feel nothing. Because most of us, yeah, we say, oh yeah, I could kill somebody, but until you're actually in that moment, and usually we see it as a form of self-defense. Like if somebody's trying to hurt us, definitely you're gonna die before I do, okay? But to just go out there and just do it for gain, and that's what it is to these people. It's a game, and it's something that they have to prove it to themselves. And because the trauma that they deal with, they couldn't deal with, and that's how they found their way of dealing with it, is by hurting somebody else. And that is how they felt they get their control back, because their world completely spun upside the fuck down, and the only way they can feel they can really cope with it is by gaining some kind of control back, which is taking control from someone else. And that kind of mentality, it's like I said, it's on a more advanced level, and it's like, but when I saw, you know, growing up around my mom, you know, and the trauma that she went through, it's like, and things that I went through in my own life, you know, everything we do is a choice. Regardless of what we go through, regardless of our upbringing, regardless of any abuse or trauma that we have experienced in our lives, at the end of the day, everything is a choice,
That it
you
is.
know,
You could choose.
that you
You
can choose.
you look. You could choose to break any binds of the past
Break the
by
cycles.
simply being better than the situation
Exactly.
you're in. Trust-
And you don't have to let your trauma define you.
Nope.
Okay? That is, and I will tell you, yeah, it's not easy. I'm not going to even lie to you. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. You can always There is always a way to turn a negative into something positive. It's a matter of you choosing it. You choosing to not let it take you over, to not let the evil and the negativity take you down with it. You have the choice to, you can actually turn that uh, into allowing yourself to become stronger from it, allowing yourself to harness
So
that pain and turn it into power
that
in a
just
positive way.
with you saying that, I say this. Back then, it wasn't talked about as much because everything was swept under the rug.
Yep.
Again, that goes back to the difference of mental health for adults and or women and men that
Yep.
are different. A lot of men have to swallow their
Because
suffering.
of that stereotypical, stereotype society puts on men and women, is
Exactly.
that men are seen that they have to be strong, they have to be tough, they can't show emotion because that's a sign of weakness. Bullshit. They also, and this is something that Joker and I had talked about, as far as and this is for men and women in this respect, is that some will feel like showing that softer side, or allowing yourself to become that, vulnerable, to show that side of yourself to somebody, will bite you in the ass too, because there's just some really crooked, evil motherfuckers out there that will use that shit against you.
Hmm.
They will sit there, and it's a game to them. They will sit there and manipulate you into feeling safe and comfortable to open up, just to get that information out of you, and then turn around and hit you in
Yeah.
the face with it. And I've had that happen to me more times than I care to remember, which is one thing that you know, regardless of what this is another, life lesson, I guess you could say, is not allowing others to control your happiness and determine the person that you want to be. This is where it comes back to choices too. You can't control what other people do, but you can control what your part in it is.
Yep.
You don't have to let people in. You be selective on who you give your energy to, who you give your trust to, who you give your time to, because honestly, that shit that you're giving a part of yourself to somebody that you're never going to get back. That's where you see your self-worth. Your time is valuable because when you look at it, when especially in everyday life, if you are married, have kids, have animals, there are different factors in life that require your attention. And when you give your attention to somebody that doesn't appreciate it, they're only using you, manipulating you, and all that, that takes attention away from others that deserve your attention, that do appreciate it. And so yeah, it's gonna leave a little sting and a little bad taste in your mouth when you find out that somebody that you trusted betrayed you, and their true colors came out. But think of it this way: that doesn't say what your character is, it says what theirs is.
But here's the
It
thing: is
just,
there are people with the best of intentions for a group of people, for people in general, that get the short end of the stick every fucking time, no matter how hard they try, it's never good enough. That in a that in itself, person, it becomes that's when the bitterness comes about.
and
That
that's
negative
when you realize you're giving
at
your
the
all to the wrong people.
at the same yeah, exactly. It's to the wrong people, but at the same time, that's when you look back at yourself and you go back to that self
And you
care.
say, never again, never again, never
And
again.
you do you and just
You
stay
know,
positive.
you stay
As
positive.
hard as that,
Don't let others' behavior stop you from being who you are. Don't let others' treatment of you dim your light from being genuine and sincere and authentic, because they're the ones with the problem, not you.
exactly.
So you keep being who you are, regardless. Because at the end of the day, you can look at yourself in the fucking mirror and know you're a good person. That that has I actually have come to terms with those types of situations with people where it's I look at them and I'm like, you are the problem, not me. I have sincere and good intentions. You have the hidden agenda for whatever reason. It's not my deal.
I,
Okay?
I was
You
watching
go
a video.
work on you. I'm going to work on me. I'm not going to, I, you go your way, I'll go mine.
I was watching a video earlier, and it comes to this: can you look yourself at the end of the day in the mirror and say you've been the best person you could be that day?
If you
If
can't,
not, if not, go to bed.
time to make a change.
Let me finish. Go to bed, wake up, try again tomorrow. No, tomorrow is not promised. That's why we try to be the best we can be each and every day, regardless.
Exactly. And that's all we can do. You know,
Okay.
we're human. Humans are going to make mistakes. Humans are not perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. Okay? It's all you can do is each and every single day strive to be better than you were the day before, and continue to work on your own personal growth. Not for anybody else, not for, Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's for you. And stay focused on growing within you, building you, not building for everybody else.
Find something constructive that's positive that you can do on a daily basis, whether it's with a group of people or by yourself, whether it's reading a book, whether it's writing a book, whether it's me fabric painting hats.
Going for a walk.
Yeah, go for a walk.
Just
Listen,
go for a walk. Go be outside in the elements. That's the best place to be.
go hug a tree.
Go hug a tree, damn it. It's a good feeling. And the one thing, people actually laugh at that. And I've actually told people, look, okay, trees are living as organisms as well, okay? Because the grass, the trees, the bees, the birds, it's all life. They feel just as we would feel, Any kind of life feels. When plants die, they feel that. When a bee or a bird died, they feel that shit. A tree, a tree is a living thing too. It grows. You have to nurture it and love it and give it care for it to grow and blossom. So hug a tree, make a tree feel good, and the tree will make you feel good. Because why? The tree provides you shade from the sun, so you don't burn into a fucking crisp.
It also provides oxygen
It
for you.
provides oxygen for us to breathe. It provides beauty for us to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And trees like to be hugged. Flowers like to be talked to. Trust me, I've had so many people look at me insane because I talk to flowers. I talk to trees. I talk to animals. I got into a fucking argument with a cow. It happens.
I'm not
I,
even going to throw on that one.
I still maintain that bitch was in a bad mood and she came at me first.
Mm-hmm.
All I did was clean her pasture. Fuck that heifer.
Well,
That's okay. She got made into steak. I got the last laugh.
it's the ever evolving cycle.
The circle of life. Damn, she was good. My bad. I got a little dark there. I hated that heifer, man.
You know why the chicken crossed the road?
Because there was coffee over there.
No, to get away from KFC.
No, that reminds me. That reminds me of the meme that I saw of the chicken walking through the KFC parking lot, and it said, "As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death."
I've seen that one. That's fun.
I fucking died. I'm like, ain't that the truth, man? But I tell you, one thing, honestly, on a serious note, though, the one thing that we can all agree on in this life, in this world, everything here is temporary. None of us live forever. Not any trees, not any animals, not us humans. And every second, the world is constantly changing. It's constantly moving. There is no second that is exactly the same because things are constantly in movement. And why waste your life here worrying and stressing over shit you have no control over.
And even if you can control it,
Seriously, if you
try to make
can, if you have control over, you know, because like like we were saying, everything's a choice. You know, you can sit there and take a look at your life and
hey, watching. I need more coffee.
coffee order.
Yep,
But
coffee alert. Need
um,
coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee.
but if
Mm.
you could actually take a look at your life and because me, this is something I learned in therapy. Go figure. Is and I actually it did help me is making lists. Lists are a good thing. They can be a good thing,
Um,
and
can
it
I interrupt you for just a split second on that? Because I got to bring this up just because
okay.
age appropriate for us. There's two
Which
types
age
of
would that
lists.
be?
You make lists of things that you want, that you want to do that are productive
Hmm?
or whatnot. But then there's also the list that you need for. Thank you. Then there's the list that you need in order to make sure you don't forget certain shit.
Like the grocery list.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
some
the to do list.
the grocery list with the same items on it twice because
Yeah.
they weren't paying attention. Dot.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Dot's bad at that.
I made for this morning and I'm like, okay, I got this, I got why the fuck is that on there twice?
Maybe she was just making sure that she saw it, she wouldn't
I
forget.
don't know.
So I guess she figured she needed to put it on there more than once to make sure that you don't forget.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or she put it on there twice to tell you to get two.
No. Not what was not yeah.
Like, no, no, we ain't believing that bullshit.
You would deprive me of the elixir of motivation that keeps me going.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yes, it was.
You
But
get
as
him
I
taught.
1G, keep it going and do your thing. Thank you. Appreciate that. Keep it in your mouth. Lady.
You just made the list.
Oh, jeez. I so off. And if no one knows what the hell that means, if you watch wrestling at all, here Chris Jericho did a stint
Oh my
of
god.
people being on a list, and he made it funny. I,
That shit was hilarious. I'm sorry, bro. And I mean,
oh, you want to be, you want to be some kind of special? You just made the list.
you just made the list. And he would pop up at the weirdest fucking times in the oddest locations. And yeah, that shit was hilarious. Fucking hilarious, bro. He had so many people doing like, where the hell did you come from?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I actually, because I know, what by the way, what time do you got to go in?
6 o'clock tonight.
Oh, so we're good. Okay,
We,
cool.
we can keep this motherfucker rolling.
All right, cool. Cause the funny thing, because I actually have a funny story. This is kind of because we have squirrel moments, so we kind of go off in a left field once in a while. And
Left.
this is a left field story, so yeah. But when I was saying, we were saying how he would show up in random fucking places and shit, and people would be like, "Where the hell did you come from?" Yeah, I actually had a stalker cat
A
that
cat.
did Yes, and if my, which I know my chipmunks aren't watching because I know Lexi's at work, but we were actually discussing this just the other day where we were going down memory lane, and I actually had got back in touch with a family member of mine that I have not talked to this boy in years. It's my nephew, and I'm still kind of floored that he's 30 years old now. It's like, oh my god,
Holy
where
shit.
did the time go? But yes, this boy, we were just kind of going down memory lane between me and Lexi and my nephew Shondell. That it we remembered this cat that we had. That this cat, and the funniest thing is, wasn't even our cat. Okay, how this cat came into the picture was this cat actually broke into our apartment. How, I don't fucking know. We never did figure it out, but it was actually our neighbor's cat. And my first encounter with this cat, mind you, was I was in the bathroom taking a bubble bath, enjoying my peaceful surroundings. Okay?
It wasn't so peaceful after that, was it?
Let me just say, when I went in there, I shut the door and I was by myself.
You thought
Okay? I woke. Now I have a bad habit of falling asleep in the bathtub. Okay? And I was sleeping. I woke up, mind you, the door is shut.
okay.
And there's this cat literally sitting on the toilet staring at me, watching me sleep. And it's not my cat.
That's a little creepy.
Thank you. Okay? This went on every fucking day. This cat would show up out of the blue. Was not our cat. And I'm sitting there, and I mean, I know, okay, anybody who has triggers, like, I was not trying to be cruel, but, I love cats, don't get me wrong. I was trying to get this cat out of my house. I squirted this cat with baby powder in the face. I chased him and beat him with a broom. I did all kinds of shit to this cat, and he still kept coming back. And every time in the same spot, on the toilet, while I'm in the bathtub watching me sleep. The fucked up thing about this story, you can't press charges or get a restraining order.
No, that's when you call the local Chinese restaurant.
I didn't think about that.
I know that's a little dark, and
It
this is.
is dark. It is dark. Don't get me wrong.
However, come on.
But now
Let,
the
let, let,
funny.
let me put this in this perspective, okay? The reason I say that, because you never see a Chinese commercial. You never see a Chinese food commercial at all.
Nope. There was
So, I mean,
actually, and the thing is, what people don't understand is there are actually Chinese restaurants that do that. I knew of one in Marysville, Washington, years and years ago when I lived there. That my brother's girlfriend was a waitress there, and she was the one that told us that they didn't feed it to the public, but that after hours they would get a cat that they'd find in the alley, just a stray cat, and they'd cook it up.
since we're on the subject at the moment, I got to know your thoughts on this because I don't know if you've seen it a while back, and it was a big thing where apparently certain places were had actually
Horse meat?
no mermaids.
Mermaids.
Hmm. It was
I
a bit
don't.
going around for a
I.
long.
I'm not doubting that mermaids exist, because honestly, the shit I've seen in anything's possible.
Oh,
Anything
we
and everything
really
is fucking possible. Never doubt anything, because
if we
honestly,
were,
I've seen some fucking shit, people.
look, if we were to really get into some of these conspiracies, there's a recent one that I've been seeing a lot of that has me wondering,
Ooh,
and it has to do with Antarctica,
I know what you're talking about.
the place underwater that's almost like basically a version of
Atlantis.
what they consider hell, where there are ghostly beings that are trapped.
That is a possibility. That is a possibility. I,
Just,
I
just
honestly, I don't doubt anything in this life or this world. Honestly,
there's too much that we don't know.
there's exactly
Why that
there's.
goes to that brings on that theory that why did we all of a sudden start looking into space when it's not really space and stopped exploring the ocean? What is in the ocean that is so
They don't even know how far down the ocean goes, just like they don't know how far out space goes.
no? And space doesn't mean up; it means outer.
Exactly.
So if you look at it from that perspective, okay,
Hmm.
let's look at the fact of the whole ice wall
Yeah.
and there are maps out there that have proven that there are beyond the ice walls other land. Now
Oh
I
yeah.
just take for granted what somebody says. Oh, that's not true. I'm not dismissing whether it is or it isn't. Of course, I'm too broke to fucking find out either way. But
Right. That's where
in
the truth
theory,
seekers come into play, is on, you know how far are you willing to go to seek the truth?
now if I had the money to do so, oh, I definitely would.
Exactly.
That's
You
just
know,
which
just
I
like.
there's there's so much going on right now that a lot of people literally just don't even want to acknowledge it.
Oh no, because there's too many people out there that are actually afraid and scared of the truth. Because if
Well,
they learned the depth of
some
what's really out there,
some people just don't want
they're
to.
not ready to accept that fact.
A lot of people are just into the mundane, day to
They're
day.
they're ready. They're just willing to stay in their comfort zone and accept what's in the 3D here.
That's like I was watching a video last night about. I know you've seen the movie The Matrix,
Yep.
and when Neo goes to the Oracle the first time, and there's the little boy. In theory, that whole series, that moment wasn't necessarily about Neo and him discovering. Well, shut up, Dot. Yes, I am a nerd when it comes to certain things, but you pick
Hey,
up on
that's okay. I'm a nerd like that too.
but it wasn't about Neo. It wasn't even about the boy. It was about the fact that within the Matrix, those were more or less mean. It wasn't even about Neo. It was actually about Mr. Smith. If you
Just
like,
like there's been theories about how to escape the matrix.
well, that still goes to give me the. Are we in a artificial world, or at the same notion, Area 51, is it an exit to the real world? Gotta
And it's really, and
know.
I mean, we're in our own world, but we know that there are other worlds out there. There's
I'm
other
not.
planets. There's other, there is, so much above and below.
Well, you look at the movie, the Men.
Like, and I'm sorry, but for those people out there that think we're the only ones,
Okay, I'm going to put this in a little bit of a perspective for some people. I'm going to name off a couple movies because there's no way in hell, no way
I'm
in the
gonna,
world that there isn't more.
I'm gonna mention one off right off rip, and that's Contact.
I was thinking Men in Black, Stargate, just to name two. Those
I'll
are
name Contact and what was the other one? Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I just said that.
See,
I just said that, man.
we're on the same page.
So I mean, you look at that factor. Plus, you have the Odyssey. Talks about the ocean.
Odyssey is another one, yeah.
There
And
is,
there's so much out there that is unknown
but the problem is
that
there's so many different twists and turns that.
because what you got to understand is there's good and evil in everything.
Hmm.
There's good and bad in everything. That's the universal balance. You can't have